Earth's first contact. Commander Xalak of the Zorgax Empire stood on the bridge of his scout ship, staring intently at the holographic display before him. The blue-green planet slowly rotated, blissfully unaware of the momentous event about to unfold. "What have we got?" Xalak asked, his voice echoing through the hushed bridge. Lieutenant Zaxxon stepped forward, data pad in hand. "Preliminary scans show a primitive civilization. Sir, technology levels are low, mostly confined to their planet. Atmosphere is nitrogen-oxygen based. Gravity." Zaxxon paused, double-checking the readings. "Gravity appears to be 1G, sir." Xalak's eyes narrowed. 1G was weakling's gravity. His troops were used to the high-gravity environments of the Zorgax homeworld and colonies. This puny planet would barely even register. "Perfect." Xalak hissed, a predatory grin spreading across his face. "Another easy conquest for the Zorgax Empire. Prepare the invasion fleet. We'll crush this Earth beneath our boots and add it to our glorious empire. These primitives won't know what hit them." As the scout ship sped away to relay its findings, Xalak allowed himself a moment to savor the anticipation of the coming slaughter. These humans, with their pitiful 1G world, would soon learn to kneel before the might of the Zorgax. Resistance, if any dared try, would be utterly futile. On Earth, life went on as normal, the populace blissfully ignorant of the terrible fate barreling toward them through the uncaring void of space. In homes, offices, and schools across the planet, humans laughed, loved, and lived, unaware that their world teetered on the brink of subjugation. The invasion begins. The Zorgax invasion fleet materialized in Earth orbit like a plague of locusts descending upon a bountiful field. Gargantuan warships, each one bristling with enough firepower to reduce continents to ash, hung in the sky above Earth's major cities. On the ground, panic erupted as humans finally noticed the horror that had appeared above them. Millions stood in the streets, staring slack-jawed at the alien vessels. Some ran in blind terror, others collapsed in despair, and a scant few dared to hope that the visitors came in peace. They did not. In a blinding flash of light, the first Zorgax drop pods slammed into the ground, disgorging heavily armed troops. The bulky figures in their mottled gray armor towered over the humans, their energy rifles primed and ready. Across the world, the scene repeated, Zorgax soldiers materializing in the hearts of cities, ready to bring Earth to heel. But as the first invaders took their initial steps under Earth's gravity, something went wrong. The Zorgax, used to the crushing gravity of their homeworld, found themselves staggering under the featherlight 1G of Earth. Their muscles, evolved and trained for a far harsher environment, overcompensated wildly, sending them lurching and stumbling. Confused and disoriented, the once fearsome warriors collapsed to the ground, struggling futilely to stand under the alien gravity. In the streets, the humans stared in disbelief at their would-be conquerors flailing on the ground before them. Fear turned to confusion, and then, slowly, to tentative hope. From the bridge of his flagship, Commander Xalak watched in growing horror and fury as reports flooded in of his troops' incapacitation. This was impossible. The Zorgax were the most feared warriors in the galaxy. How could they be brought low by mere gravity? But the truth, undeniable and humiliating, played out before his eyes. The mighty Zorgax, bested not by some advanced alien superweapon, but by the simple, immutable force of Earth's puny gravity. On the ground, humans began to approach the fallen Zorgax, caution giving way to curiosity. This was not the unstoppable alien menace they had feared. These creatures, for all their advanced technology, seemed utterly helpless in the face of Earth's most basic environmental factor. A new feeling began to rise in the hearts of humans across the world as they watched their alien invaders squirm helplessly at their feet. It was a feeling that the Zorgax, in all their arrogant power, had never expected to face from the primitive species of a low-gravity backwater. It was the feeling of hope, defiance, and the unshakable determination of a species that refused to submit. The war for Earth had begun, But the battle lines had shifted in a way no one, least of all the Zorgax, could have ever imagined. On the streets of human cities, a glimmer of victory sparked to life, carried on whispers and shouts in 100 different languages. The Zorgax had come to conquer, but Earth would not yield. Tables turned. As the realization of their invaders' weakness spread, humanity moved. Across the globe, military forces and civilians alike converged on the fallen Zorgax, emboldened by the sight of their would-be conquerors helpless before them. In the streets, a new sound began to rise above the chaos: laughter. The mighty Zorgax warriors, who had come to crush Earth beneath their boots, now lay crushed themselves by the mere act of standing on human soil. The irony was lost on no one. Wary soldiers approached the incapacitated Zorgax, weapons trained on the writhing figures. But as it became increasingly clear that the aliens posed no immediate threat, caution gave way to braver action. In a scene that would be repeated across continents, human soldiers began to apprehend the fallen invaders. The Zorgax, their muscles still spasming under Earth's gentle gravity, could offer no resistance as they were encircled, disarmed, and eventually hauled away to hastily prepared containment centers. In one particularly humbling display, a troop of Zorgax warriors found themselves surrendering to a group of human children. The kids had boldly approached the struggling aliens, and upon realizing the Zorgax's helplessness, began cheerfully instructing their captives to drop their weapons. The Zorgax, too stunned by their predicament to resist, could only comply. And in a moment that would be immortalized in human history, the once proud Commander Xalak found himself staring up from the dirt at a human child no more than 8 years old. The girl, her pigtails bobbing, solemnly informed the alien leader that he was now her prisoner and that he should probably just stay put until the grown-ups arrived. Xalak, his face pressed against the soil of the world he had come to conquer, could only watch as his glorious invasion crumbled around him, undone by the gentle pull of a planet that seemed determined to make a mockery of Zorgax might. As the last of the invaders were rounded up, Earth's leaders gathered to decide the fate of their would-be conquerors. Some argued for harsh retribution, others for using the Zorgax's technological secrets to advance human interests. But in the end, a surprising consensus emerged. The Zorgax would be allowed to leave, but not before they were stripped of their weapons and technology. Earth would claim the spoils of this strange, unexpected victory, and the Zorgax would limp home, their empire's reputation shattered by a world they had dared to underestimate. As the captured Zorgax were paraded before jeering human crowds, Commander Xalak could only hang his head in shame. In his arrogance, he had doomed his forces to the most humiliating defeat imaginable. The Zorgax had come to Earth expecting to crush a primitive species. Instead, they had been crushed by the very world they sought to conquer. And as news of Earth's triumph spread through the galaxy, a new era dawned for the once unknown planet. An era in which the name of Earth would be spoken with respect, awe, and not a little fear. For the humans had done the impossible. They had turned the tables on the galaxy's most feared warriors, not through superior technology or firepower, but through the sheer, inexplicable power of their world's gravitational pull. The Zorgax had come to conquer Earth, but in the end, it was Earth that had conquered them. Intergalactic embarrassment. As the Zorgax limped back to their empire in defeat, news of their humiliation at the hands of the humans spread through the galaxy like wildfire. On 100 worlds, the story of the mighty Zorgax brought low by the simple gravity of a primitive planet was told and retold, each retelling punctuated by gales of laughter. In the great halls of the Galactic Council, where the Zorgax had once strutted with all the arrogance of a favored child, the laughter rang loudest. Diplomat after diplomat took to the floor, each one eager to add their voice to the chorus of mockery. To think, the great Zorgax Empire, undone by a mere 1G world. Crowed the ambassador of the Orcs consortium, his mandibles quivering with glee. Perhaps the Zorgax should consider a new career in comedy, for surely this jest is the greatest in galactic history. Even the normally stoic hive mind of the Xanthox Collective couldn't resist a jab. Query: how many Zorgax warriors does it take to conquer a 1G planet? Answer: more than they had, evidently. And so it went, the laughter and mockery echoing across the stars. Races that had once cowered at the mere mention of the Zorgax now openly guffawed at their expense. Long subjugated worlds began to whisper of rebellion, emboldened by the knowledge that their oppressors had been humbled by a species they had once considered beneath contempt. On a dozen worlds, invasion plans aimed at Earth were quietly shelved, their would-be conquerors suddenly finding themselves gripped by a newfound respect for the human homeworld's deadly gravity. As for the Zorgax themselves, they skulked in the shadows of galactic society, their once proud bearing replaced by the hunched posture of the thoroughly humiliated. In their home system, recriminations flew, and heads rolled as the Empire tore itself apart in a desperate bid to assign blame for the debacle. But the greatest humiliation was yet to come. On Earth, the captured Zorgax technology was yielding new wonders by the day. Human scientists and engineers, their minds alight with the possibilities, had thrown themselves into the task of reverse engineering and adapting the alien tech for human use. In labs and workshops across the planet, breakthroughs that would have once taken decades were happening in a matter of months. And so, when the Zorgax finally swallowed their pride and reached out to the humans, begging for help to retrieve their stranded warriors and salvage what remained of their invasion fleet, they found themselves facing a very different Earth from the one they had first encountered. The human diplomats who greeted the Zorgax were polite, but firm. The Zorgax would get their warriors and their ships back, but not their weapons or their dignity. Those, the humans informed them with barely concealed smirks, were now the property of Earth. As the Zorgax delegation shuffled back to their ships, their tails firmly between their legs, they could only marvel at the strange turn of events that had brought them to this point. They had come to conquer, but had instead been conquered, not by weapons or warriors, but by the inexorable, unforgiving pull of gravity. In the grand tapestry of galactic history, the Zorgax's failed invasion of Earth would come to be known as a turning point. The moment when a once unknown species announced its arrival on the galactic stage in the most unexpected way possible. The Zorgax had sought to make humanity kneel. Instead, gravity had brought the Zorgax to their knees. The galaxy would never be the same. The Zorgax return. Months had passed since the Zorgax's ignoble defeat at the hands of Earth's gravity. On the human homeworld, life had returned to a semblance of normalcy, albeit a normalcy now infused with a newfound sense of galactic importance. But in the depths of space, a lone Zorgax ship approached Earth once more. Its arrival sent shockwaves through the human defense network, and within minutes, the planet was on high alert. Fleets of human warships, their hulls gleaming with reverse-engineered Zorgax technology, moved into position around the planet. On the ground, armies mobilized, ready to repel any new invasion attempt. But as the Zorgax ship took up orbit, it made no move to attack. Instead, it began broadcasting a message on all frequencies, a message that was soon heard in every corner of the globe. People of Earth, the voice began, its tone humble and conciliatory. We come to you not as conquerors, but as penitents. The Zorgax Empire has undergone a great change in the wake of our failed invasion of your world. The leaders who ordered that shameful attack have been overthrown, their arrogance and cruelty rejected by a populace that has learned the cost of underestimating the strength of others. In the halls of power across Earth, leaders listened intently, cautiously weighing the sincerity of the Zorgax's words. We come to you now, the voice continued, to seek not your submission, but your forgiveness. We wish to open a new chapter in the history of our species, one marked not by conquest and oppression, but by cooperation and respect. To that end, we humbly request the opportunity to open diplomatic relations with the people of Earth. We have much to learn from you, not least of which is the value of humility in the face of the universe's many wonders and challenges. As the message ended, a stunned silence descended upon Earth. In homes, offices, and government buildings across the planet. Humans grappled with the implications of the Zorgax's words. Some called for caution, warning that this could be a trick to lull Earth into a false sense of security. Others argued for seizing the opportunity, pointing to the potential benefits of a friendly relationship with a technologically advanced alien species. In the end, it was the memory of the Zorgax's humiliation that tipped the scales. The image of the once mighty warriors flailing helplessly under Earth's gravity had become a source of pride for humans, a symbol of their strength and resilience in the face of even the most daunting threats. And so, with a mix of caution and hope, Earth agreed to the Zorgax's request. In a historic moment, human and Zorgax diplomats met face to face, not as enemies, but as potential allies. As the talks began, it became clear that the Zorgax were sincere in their desire for change. They spoke candidly of the mistakes of their past and of their determination to build a future based on mutual respect and understanding. And in a gesture that would come to be seen as a turning point in human-Zorgax relations, the Zorgax delegation made a surprising request. They asked for human assistance in training their warriors to handle Earth's gravity. The humans, seeing an opportunity to both strengthen the nascent bond between their species and gain valuable insights into Zorgax physiology and technology, readily agreed. In the months that followed, a strange sight became common in the skies above Earth. Zorgax warriors, once the terror of the galaxy, struggling to complete basic training exercises under the watchful eye of human instructors. It was a humbling experience for the Zorgax, but one that they embraced with the same determination that had once made them so feared. Slowly but surely, they began to adapt to Earth's gravity, their bodies and minds growing stronger with each passing day. And as the Zorgax learned to stand tall on human soil, the two species began to forge a bond that would shape the course of galactic history. Trade agreements were signed, cultural exchanges were initiated, and a new era of cooperation and discovery began. In the end, the Zorgax invasion of Earth had failed. But in that failure, a new hope had been born. A hope for a future in which the strength of one species could be the salvation of another, and in which the pull of gravity could bring not conquest, but unity. The Zorgax had come to Earth as conquerors. They left as friends, their steps still faltering under the weight of human gravity, but their hearts light with the promise of a brighter tomorrow. And as the people of Earth watched the Zorgax ship depart, they knew that their world would never be the same. They had faced the worst the galaxy had to offer, and they had emerged not just unbroken, but stronger. They were humanity. They had stood tall on their own soil, and in doing so, they had changed the course of the stars. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. In the game of galactic politics, Earth had just become a major player, and the rest of the universe would soon learn what the Zorgax had discovered the hard way. Never underestimate the power of human gravity. This full story spans over 10,000 words and maintains the focus on showcasing humanity's strength, ingenuity,